All right, here we go, folks. Welcome to another episode of Home Service Hustle. I'm your host, Jonathan Bannister, and today I am with Jake Wayne, just Pettit. So Jake is here with us from Resilient Roots, and before we jump into it, welcome to the show, Jake.
Hey, thanks, man. Super glad to be on this show with you. Love what you're doing in the industry.
I appreciate it. So look, I met you this past year down in San Antonio. I know several people that you've been involved with, and I know you've helped build some big 7 and 8 figure companies. So let's just talk about how it all started, what the background is, where you came from, and then we'll talk about current time today.
Yeah, man, be happy to get into it. So I've been in the trades for 10 years now. Before that, I was in the automotive industry, hated my job, did that for 5 years, hated my job, but I learned sales. So I've always been in sales since I was, 18 years old or so, 17, 18 years old, right when I graduated high school.
So 5 years selling cars?
Selling cars.
Okay.
And my wife and I got married 2 days after high school.
Wow.
Pretty interesting. So I had to support a family now, right? When she wasn't pregnant or anything, we just got married. We're engaged in high school. Decided, obviously, I had to produce money for our family. So I found the first job that was a first career that I could actually make money in was sales. So I found a car dealership, started selling cars. There's a lot more into that story, but I don't know how much you want to get into it. So we'll keep it kind of a really high overview of everything, okay, and you can dig into whatever you want.
All right.
But yeah, man, started selling cars for a while. Was in the automotive industry for 5 years. My wife got pregnant with our first child, and we decided, I was like, man, most of your family and my family have all left Odessa, Texas. Let's get up and be closer to your family. So we relocated to a town called Fredericksburg, Texas. I got on Google. I was like, I'm not freaking getting back into the automotive industry. So, because that career demands a lot of, time, and it's a hustle. Like your home service hustle. That's a hustle, bro. You were hustling, getting sales. So, nothing wrong with that. Enjoyed that part. It was just like not the career that I wanted. Got on Google and I typed in the best businesses to work for in Fredericksburg, Texas. Company called 72 Degrees Heating and Air Conditioning popped up. I'm like, interesting. I used to sell cars to a guy that owned an air conditioning company. He did really well for himself. He was the owner, right? Did really, really well for himself. Sold him lots of vehicles, actually. I was like, hell, let's just try this out. So put my application in. Long story short, they called me. This guy named Greg Surma called me up, and he was like, hey, we'd like to interview you. Okay. I was like, what for? You guys need what do you do with air conditioners? You need a service guy, or what do you need? And he goes, no, I want you to sell them. I'm like, you can sell air conditioning? And he goes, yeah. He just laughed on the phone. So he goes, yeah, if you can you be here within the next 30 minutes for an interview? I'm like, sure, man. Showed up. Didn't even know how to dress. So I dressed like really nice, wore a sports coat and all that shit. I didn't know how you were supposed to do that, right? You're a trades guy. It's hilarious, dude. I think back to that.
Well, because I hear stories now where like the dudes show up in flip flops and stuff. So I mean, they probably laughed, but they probably appreciated it.
Maybe so. But I also just relocated my family. So we just had a newborn. Just relocated my wife and our newborn to Fredericksburg. We still owned a house in Odessa, Texas. The market was down, so our house wasn't selling. So I stayed on the market for another 6 months on that. And so we lived with my mother-in-law in this 12 by 12 room. Stayed there, and I was like, holy crap, I gotta get my wife and my child here, Addison. Gotta get a place, man. So I had to produce money. Long story, and that is, I got hired on. They didn't just throw me and let me just start selling. So I had to learn the trade. I owned a house, but I didn't even know what a condenser was. I didn't know what an air handler was. Didn't know how I just knew it gave me comfort.
Yeah.
And within that, I rode 8 months with the owner every single day with every single call for 8 months straight. I wrote down his entire process. He is a phenomenal owner. His name is Brad Schneider. They're out of Fredericksburg. It's a small town of about 10,000 people. They did about 5 million a year in revenue there. He was crushing that market, and he was really good too. So I rode 8 months with him. I wrote his entire process down, but also he showed me a lot of how the trade is, like especially in air conditioning, what a condenser is, how do you work on air conditioning, what's an air handler, how does the air move, how do you solve comfort issues, all that great stuff. After that 8 months, he threw me in an install for a little while. He helps the installers out with the install. Knew nothing about installing them until obviously I'm being taught by these guys. After a little while of doing that, went into service, rode along with service techs for quite some time, and then I had to sell him an air conditioner. So lots of role playing back and forth. Then obviously, after a few weeks of doing that, he cut me loose, let me go out there and start making things happen. I did well with them, but I understood too that I wanted to not only make, 40, 60,000 a year. I was like, dude, I'm coming out of a freaking automotive industry making six figures. Like, I ain't freaking switching careers going backwards. If I have to take a pause for a little while within 2 years, it's fine to learn something new, but I got to go produce. Within that, I just reached out to a good buddy of mine. I said, hey, man, do you know anybody in Austin or San Antonio that have pretty good, pretty big companies that could be a part of so I could go and crush it? And he said, yeah, man, there's a company in San Antonio. It's called John Wayne Service Company. Should reach out to them. I'll put in a good word for you. I was like, all right, man. Did that. They called me up, did the interview, and I'm sitting there, and there's this guy named Jay Carlson sitting next to me, Brandon Rackler at the time, and then also Carlos Felix, which was the sales manager. Same thing, dressed up in the same freaking sports coat that I interviewed with 72 Degrees with, man. Go there, and now I'm making okay money at this place. I'm making like 65,000 a year at that first company, 72 Degrees. But I want to make good money, man. But I need to know, like, I want the chains to be let off and let me go and just produce for this organization. But there's only 10,000 people there. So going to San Antonio was a big deal. It was like, dang, there's like 3 million people in the surrounding areas. And this is at the time, I think they were doing about 35 million a year, 40 million a year. And I'm interviewing, like I said, Jay Carlson, Brandon, and Carlos is sitting in front of me. Start asking me a lot of questions, start role playing with me, kind of seeing how I am, because they don't just hire at the time comfort advisors from outside the organization to come sell for them. They always promote within. So I was one of the first ones that they did that with. May have done that with one or two other guys previously, but I was like, they're very picky. And we started doing some role playing, did really well at that apparently. And then he was, I remember Carlos, the sales manager, was like, hey man, what's your goal here? And I said, well, that's a very loaded question, but can I ask you a question? Like, if you're talking revenue, what's your top guy doing here? And keep in mind, this was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. Okay. He goes, well, he's doing 1.8, 1.7, 1.8 a year. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, Jake, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm in a small town. I'm doing over 1 million, 1.2, 1.5 in between there. And I was like, but you're telling me he's doing 1.8 and there's a town of 3 million people? And he goes, yeah. I was like, how many calls is he running a day? He goes, 3 on average. I'm like, okay. I was like, you give me my first 12 months, I will beat every record he's ever done. And I'll beat every single employee here in there of how much revenue they did. And he looked at me and goes, you're pretty confident about yourself. Like, I don't know. This guy's been here for 12 years. Like, he's our top guy. I'm like, just give me 12 months and I will do it. If I don't, just fire me. I had to make a job. I had to make money. My back was against the wall at this point. Yeah, Jonathan. And he goes, okay. Well, Brandon looks at me and goes, hey, man, what's the percentage on you coming on? I guess I maybe have impressed him a little bit. And he goes, I told him, I'm about 80% sure I want to come on here. He goes, well, what's the other 20%? What's that going to, how do I close that gap? And I was like, well, I just need to talk to my wife about this tonight. I threw an objection at him, right? And he goes, well, how about you have your wife come here tomorrow morning and I'll interview her as well. And I'm like, no shit. Okay. They want to talk to my wife too. That's cool. So we came, my wife loved that. The next morning, we brought her, my wife and my newborn, and or she was 2 at the time, I guess. Um, we toured the whole facility. She loved it. She loved the place. She was like, okay, well, guess we're moving again, Jake. Now, Bennett, Fredericksburg and San Antonio, it's an hour apart. It's not that big of a deal. So we split the difference. When we came here, we drove all the way back to we left the John Wayne Service Company and we're driving back to Fredericksburg, and I was like, hey, you know what? If we're doing this, let's go ahead and let's just, they see that apartment complex right there? It was in Bernie. I was like, let's just go get an apartment right now. She goes, all right. We just drove up, walked in, got the apartment, drove to Fredericksburg, got my shit, came back, unloaded the whole house. I didn't have any money at the then. I just spent it on the apartment. And I'm like, okay, well, now I got to go freaking make this happen. So I didn't start for another week. And then I went there and they put you on a 4-week training process. It doesn't matter if you have experience. I had 2 years of experience at the time. They didn't care. You go through 4 weeks. They want to teach you their process and then let you out and you go run the process that they teach you. And did my 4 weeks and I'm fuming, dude. I'm like, dude, I have 4 weeks of this shit. Like, I got 11 months left to beat this guy's deal, his record, because that's the promise I made. Not so obviously that next month I did 168,000 in revenue in my first month after they let me out. I was very proud of that. But then I was like, man, this is so freaking easy. Automotive, and what a lot of people, if you've never been in it, like it's not easy. It's like what blew my mind is like, you mean you're going to give me leads to go run and all I got to do is provide good service and sell it and I get paid? You mean I don't have to go out there and knock on people's door every day to find my own lead, which is a really good thing to do, by the way. Not saying don't do that. I'm saying that's a great thing to do. But I was just blown away. He said, yeah, you can get an average of 3 leads a day, man. I'm like, holy shit. So all I got to do is close these things? That's like the easiest thing. You're going to give me a truck? You're going to give me a gas card? Then you're going to give me the leads? And you're going to give me the technology people use? Holy cow, this is the best thing in the world. So it just blew my mind. So I did 1.8 million in 9 months, my first 9 months. And then obviously everybody else is kind of raising their standards. My first 12 months, I did 2.4 million. And there was not another individual in that entire organization in the 20 years that they have been in existence that did over $2 million. And so I was proud to be the first one to break that record within me being my first time at this company, first year. And I actually not only did it, I beat it, right? I beat everybody. And then obviously I'm just a very, very ambitious, driven individual for myself. I didn't want it to stop there. I kept going. And so I maintained that for the 4 years I was there. I did over 3 million in revenue. And then COVID had happened and me and Brandon Rackler were talking at the time. And I was like, man, you know what's crazy is like you can sit here and have a Zoom call with your CPA or your doctor. How in the hell, why can't we sell air conditioning over Zoom? And he looks and he goes, oh, that's a good point. And I was like, I just think there's a way to do that. And he goes, well, what are your ways? And I can't remember the exact conversation. Me and him kind of go back and forth on that all the time. He brought it up. I brought it up. The conversation happened. And so within that, it was a February of 20, I think it was February 2021, I believe. He was like, he called me to the office and he goes, hey man, he goes, we've been talking about that selling stuff over Zoom and like helping technicians, presenting options over Zoom on a replacement.
Yeah.
He goes, try it. I'm like, okay, you're going to trust me to try it? If you're a top guy, what if I screw it up? He goes, oh, you just screw it up. And I'm like, I'm just messing with you, dude. I'm going to sell this shit. Watch. And so, dude, I'm literally in my service van and I get a technician that calls me because at the time they had comfort advisors, they had selling a service sales techs, and they had service techs, and they had maintenance techs. So there's like steps.
Yeah.
They just had so many leads that, just had to cover that territory. And I had a service tech call me who was like, hey, Jake, I got a customer here. They have an expensive repair. Definitely a premium investment here for them on this side. So they want to look at long-term replacement options. I'm like, perfect. Put them on the phone for me. Started talking to him a little bit, building a little bit of rapport and connection with him. And I was like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Can't even remember the name, Jones. Can we do a quick thing? I want to save you time, save you money. Sounds like got the guy's been at his house. The technician's been at your house for some time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send him a link, and I'm going to be able to go over all these options, but also tell you kind of everything about your system. It's all going to be virtual. And they're like, oh, really? So you don't have to come to my house? It's like, no, I'm going to want to save you time, save you time, be efficient. He's already there. We can take care of this now. This was my first time doing it. Dude, I sit here and I have my freaking iPad in the service band like this. And you can see the back of me is all this stuff in the back, right? And I hop on there, dude, and I closed the deal in about 20 minutes over Zoom, and it was a $27,000 ticket over Zoom. I'm like, holy shit, there's something to that. And Brandon's like, do it again, do it again, do it again. And so I was like, all right. So I went 5 for 5. So I immediately got off that call, went inside and sold the system it was just a marketed lead. So I sold one in person, then got back into my truck, drove about 5 blocks down the road. I got another tech calling me. And so instead of me driving across town, I just did the same thing. So I went 5 for 5 and I averaged about 24,000 in average ticket at that point. There was something to it. And then at that point, I trained 2 other guys that were the next top producers to do it as well. And we just had a bunch of service techs on our teams. So we each had a team, and we created that as a whole department. But in that time frame, like I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I love creating. I love doing this stuff. I love the challenge. And had an opportunity to go over to a company, a guy that is one of your clients too, and helped him start his organization. We grew that he hired me to be his general manager and help him, said general manager, sales manager, whatever. I'm not a big title guy. I could care less what my title was. I just knew that I wanted to produce and lead a team, but also learn how to actually run a freaking business. Yeah. I knew how to sell. I knew how to produce. I understand what it kind of is like to run a business. But I'm like, dude, I really want to understand it. Hired me and trust me, he trained me a lot on some things that I could look at and do, and how to teach me how to read a P&L statement, how to hire, how to interview, all that good stuff. And found that I really enjoyed doing that. And we grew his company from 0 to 2.4 in 12 months. And then I stayed on with him for about 1.5 years. And I kind of got the itch of like, dude, I'm a freaking entrepreneur, man. Like I'm constantly thinking of ways to be able to just take care of people, but just make money, man, produce for my family. So at that point, I decided to go out and start a company called Black Buck Construction and Consulting. And I was just a general contractor. I remember selling my freaking first bathroom remodel ever. I've never even sold a bathroom remodel before.
Wait, where'd that name come from?
Black Buck Construction Consulting.
Oh, Black Buck.
Uh-huh.
They said Black Butt. I was like, all right.
No, black buck. It was the black buck's the deer. It's a deer.
Okay.
I don't know. Just like,
right. Okay.
Thought those were cool. Yeah, not black butt, black buck.
All right. I'm like, I've met your wife, so I know it's not her. I'm like, no. Where's this black buck coming from? All right, go ahead.
Yeah. And then I grew that, and Brandon, which funny, he stepped out, and not to get into his story or any of that, he decided to step out of a family-ran business and go do his own thing. And after long conversations and relationship building between me and him, because I hadn't talked to him in probably 4 years before that, because I left him at John Wayne, went and started help a guy start a company, and then stayed there for 1.5 years and started my own. When he left, he called me. He said, I called you immediately, Jake, the day after, and I was just curious on what you're doing. And we started developing a relationship. I was already subbing out some work to my electrician friend who owned his own company. We got the HVAC guy over here. His name's Jesse. Long story short, I was like, dude, well, why can't we just like all merge together, Brain? If you want to do something, let's do something together. Let's all merge together and create a company. And, the company's in San Antonio now. And we did, we did good. We did grew that to 10 million in 18 months.
That's so impressive.
Lots of ups and downs and all that. Lots of stories to be told in that, but we won't get too much into it. But I decided to step out of that. I did that for 2 years with them, and decided like partnerships are hard,
Yeah,
they are. And
I've been through some.
they're hard, but love those guys to death, man. They're growing a great business, and decided in December of 2024 last year to step out and pursue the thing that I'm most passionate about. Is just if I an ignorant guy like myself can go and not only go from learning this or getting in this industry 10 years ago, learning this industry, being good at this industry, and then why can't why can't everybody else do it? So I have a desire to coach other people how to do that. So here at Resilient Roots, what we focus on is business coaching and business coaching and sales coaching. And that's one things we because you got to have both. So I look at it 3 pillars. You got you got marketing, you got sales, and you got operations.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies, Jonathan, and you can agree or disagree with this, and I want to hear what you got to say. Some companies do really good with marketing, but they aren't converting these leads into revenue. Right?
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I've made some notes here off of some things that you said. And one of them is, I wanted to know, when you're working with these people in sales training, like, how do you deal with some of these sales guys with your the way you came up in this industry? And like you explained, you were like, what? You mean you're going to give me a truck and a gas cart and you're going to give me the leads and all I got to do is go close them? That's the attitude you should have, right? Because you came from a place that it was hard and you had to go out and hustle and grind to make the 6 figures in the automobile world. But you hear so many times these comfort consultants bitching and complaining about leads. The quality of the lead isn't good and all this. They don't want to go out and touch any of the homes. They don't want to they just want to wait on leads, and they expect the lead to pretty much close itself. So I wrote a note here, like, I want to know how Jake teaches these sales guys, because I can imagine, like, you don't want to hear any of that, because it's like, you almost want to say, like, how about you go put in 6 months down at the local Chevrolet dealership and then you come back, right? And then maybe your attitude will be different.
Absolutely. I would say, dude, how about you go knock doors and then give somebody else all the leads that are actually great for it. Go get your own then, because you're getting supplied those leads. And how would I handle that situation, man? Like, here's the thing with that is, I don't believe that there's a bad lead out there. I personally don't, just because if you're talking to a person and they have a heartbeat and they called you to their house and you're at their house, there's a problem to be solved at there.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out the gap and where their pain point is. And so I guess the example I will use, I have a good example of this. Back in the day when I was, it was only like 7 years ago when I was running calls. Back in the day, like I'm old. Back in the day there, Jonathan. Anyways, I got dispatched a call, man, and we were running this promotion, dude. And this promotion was funny. It was for a Ring doorbell. Like, you get a free Ring doorbell, whatever. I forgot exactly what the promotion was. But I got they got dispatched this call, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it. It says, customer inquired about the free doorbell promotion. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I got kind of, this was at like 5 o'clock at night. Dispatch sends me this call, and like, the way our hours worked at that point is like, was the early shift is what you call it. They had a early shift, late shift, and my week was the early shift this week. So I got off at 6. And I'm like, dude, dispatch just told me to drive all the way home. Like, I'm clear for the day. And then they just send me a doorbell call. And I'm getting out of my truck. I'm looking at this, and I walk inside of my wife. And earlier I'm talking about, hey, don't bitch about leads. But I'm frustrated because, like, I'm about to bitch about leads to my wife because I got to go freaking run this call. And she goes, Jake, walk in. And she goes, Jake, do you remember how hard you worked to just get a lead in the automotive industry? And just because you've been producing, you've freaking made a shit ton of cash. Now do you think you're too better to run this lead? And I'm like, damn, my wife hit me with that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. She goes, and I was like, I guess you're 100% right, Hillary. And I was like, and I even coach on this. There's 2 ways to run the lead. You could either have a piss poor attitude like I did, or you can run it. You can actually go provide good service, and you can just see what happens. I always changed my perspective. I got in my van, I freaking ran the lead. And of course, I'm a little bit annoyed still. I'm like, dude, we had plans tonight, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, man. My job is to go and provide good service. And I had a 45-minute drive across town to go to this call. Go to the call. And I'm like, you know what? It's a doorbell call. It's a free doorbell, but my job is to find out what other problems they have in their house, or even if there is any other problems, but just to provide at the end of the day, good service to this homeowner, because I'm representing a company that pays me to represent and provide their client with high level service. So that's what I'm going to do. Go in there and I knock on the door and a lady answers the door.
You didn't
and
ring their
anyways,
doorbell, did you? Because they didn't have one. They didn't
I have
have
a
a ring
freaking doorbell, man. Knock on that sucker.
They wanted one.
Yeah, I wanted one. I wanted one. That's it. I started asking her some questions after, getting to know her a little bit. And so it was like, you called us out here. Sounds like you called us for a free doorbell promotion. But that being said, what makes you interested in the free doorbell? Well, that's a great question, Jake. But do you see right there we're staying outside. She goes, you see on the corner of my house right here? I was like, yes, ma'am. She goes, well, that's where the city bus comes and like people will stand here and get into the city bus and they'll take them to the destination. Problem is like I want to feel safe around my house, and I can't see if I have the doorbell with the camera. I can see like if somebody's going to come in my yard or whatever else. I'm like, oh, so it sounds like safety is pretty important to you and your family, huh? She goes, oh yeah, absolutely. And I was like, okay, do you have any other cameras around in your house? She said, no. I was like, you don't have any in the exterior? She said, no. I was like, okay, then no problem. But that being said, if that was a solution I was able to solve for you, would you like me to keep that to myself or bring that to your attention? She goes, no, bring it to my attention. I was like, perfect. Well, that being said, here at the company I work for, back today, it was John Wayne. She goes, I told her, we do HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and also home automations. Like that's what I'm here for, home automations. But since we do all these services, we're one-stop shop. I can go ahead and look at everything for you, from your HVAC, your electrical, your plumbing. Look at everything. Because the way they train you got to know your shit, man. You got to know everything.
Okay.
At least a really solid foundation of it. You don't sell electrical if you don't know electrical. You don't sell plumbing if you don't know plumbing. So I start looking at everything, and I'm like, hey, question. As I'm walking through your house, man, like I noticed like you guys converted the garage into an extra room. And I was like, do you have any hot spots or cold spots in this house? She goes, well, actually, that room we just converted. Yes. Actually, we hired a company to come in here and install a new system so we can get better airflow. Most people would have thought like, he just got a new system. I didn't even care. I didn't even care if they had a new system. Problem is they have a hot spot in there. Well, I start digging into the system, start looking at the ductwork, because some things are not modified correctly, all that good stuff. Anyways, after doing that, I say, now you just purchased a system. We could definitely look at like addressing the issues you currently have with the what I call air movement, ductwork, all that good stuff. Or we could just do nothing at all. Or even a better solution that we could probably look at. Have you ever heard about mini splits? She said, yeah, there's mini splits. To wrap all this up, to not getting too big in the weeds here, Jonathan, because I keep going on this, she went ahead and purchased a mini split, right? But also, too, in order to install the mini split, I started looking at her electrical because I knew she was pretty interested. I could tell by the look she was interested in the mini split. Looked at her outdoor electrical panel. It was an old panel. It's an FPE panel. It's Federal Pacific Electric Company. They're obsolete now. And I knew that. And I'm like, we gotta do something about this because it's definitely not safe, because my number one priority is to keep the customer safe, provide them with comfort, and keep them peace of mind. Started looking at everything, man, and I'm like, well, for one, panel's outdated, so we can't just add a mini split because I'm not going to do the job the wrong way. So I go into her and I was like, hey, curious, how long have you been in the home again? She said, oh, I've been here for 30 years. Perfect. Well, did you know that, have you seen what your outdoor electrical system looks like? She goes, no, I have not. Showed her some pictures, and I drew out like how the outdoor panel feeds the indoor panel, why that's important to her, why it's important to keep her family safe in that. I also drew out I explained to her, I drew out her electrical components in her house and told her how important it is, but also proved it there's a website called ismypanelsafe.com. Showed her the website, told her to read through it real quick. And then I told her, in order to solve your comfort issue in this addition that you made here, we're going to have to also do an upgrade here on your electrical distribution system that's outside and completely rejuvenate that, just due to you have, for one, your panel's not safe anymore. For two, it's maxed out, so we can't add another circuit for the mini split. Long story, I ran this doorbell call, bro. I walk out with a $16,000 ticket.
But if you wouldn't have worked on your attitude for that 45 minutes, what do you think would have happened? If you'd have went there with a poor attitude that you had when you walked in to talk to your wife, what would have happened?
I mean, obviously, I provided terrible service. The customer can fill off that energy, leads into a bad review. After a bad review, then obviously you get in trouble. But like, you're not solving any problem whenever you walk into that house with a negative attitude. It's just not going to happen because people feed off your energy and your emotion. We've got to be able to control what they are calling us to be a trusted advisor in their house and not just a technician, not just a comfort advisor, not just a maintenance tech, not just an electrician or a plumber. You're being trusted to come and advise them on the problems they have and provide them with the solutions that solve their problem. That's it.
So tell me what you guys, what does the process look like, Jake? Somebody reaches out to you, one of my clients, they're struggling with operations, sales. They reach out to you guys at Resilient. What does that process look like?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's not, we're trying not to overcomplicate it because a confused mind always says no, man.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
I look at three things in the business, man. I look at, for one, the marketing, two, sales, operations. But there's no particular order. I just said that. Look at that, and it's like, okay, if a company's doing great in revenue and they have lots of employees, they've dialed in operations side. Okay, well then also within that, you got to kind of think like, are they tracking? Well, not to get in the weeds and all that stuff. That's not what you're necessarily asking. Just really want to find out, for one, there's a reason why the owner is reaching out. There's a pain point somewhere. And that pain point could be in those, it really falls down to those three. Have an operational problem, have a sales problem, have a marketing problem. Figuring out where their gap is in any of those. And then I just hyper focus on that gap. And for instance, if it's a marketing, marketing, you're a marketing guy, right? Yeah. So where they overspend, they pin in spending their marketing company tell them to spend shit ton of money on PPC. Well, dude, PPC is super expensive right now. It's crazy. And they're a $10 million company. There's other ways to do that. Like, for one, what your social media, you're a $10 million company. You don't even have a freaking Instagram. Come on, guy. Like, Google and Instagram talk to each other now. YouTube and Google talk to each other now. All of it is integrated, full of videos. So when you talk marketing real quick, right? Talking about biggest thing is like people talk about like, I need leads.
Yeah.
Well, there's two things with marketing, man. You got brand awareness. And then you also have the acquisition side, the cost of acquisition of acquiring a lead. You have to advertise. You have to get the lead. You have to pay for it. They have to work together. But you do both. You do one, which a lot of people are doing this one thing, which is going and paying for leads.
That's right. I call it digital heroin.
Digital heroin.
Everyone is hooked on digital heroin. And man, you'd be so surprised, and maybe not because now you're in these businesses talking to them. But when I start telling them what they need to be spending or should be spending on the brand awareness side, they're like, but I mean, is that on top of what I'm already spending on my ad spend over here? And I'm like, yes, but the way it works is when you get the brand equity that you deserve and need, you spend less money on the ad spend with Google, right? Because then you have people positioned that don't know you today. And so they're in the lead side. You're acquiring them through some third-party service. But once you get that brand equity established, they're coming to you when they have a problem, looking for you by your name. They're not putting in plumber near me. They're not putting in AC repair near me. They're putting in, your company name.
Exactly.
Right. And I'm like, but you don't get that just randomly. It's not luck. It's not because you spend $30,000 on PPC that you're going to acquire brand equity. It's always going to be transactional as you keep buying those leads from third-party places.
Here's an example for you real quick. I was training a company first thing this morning. They're here at our facility. I was training them, and they hired, they had their techs in here, but they brought their two new employees. One was CSR, one's a dispatcher. Brand new, never been in the business before at all, ever. And so we did a lot of role playing, especially using the dispatcher and CSR, using the role playing, like, because they're homeowners too. Like they're not in the business, right? This one particular girl goes, she goes, Jake, it's funny you're saying all this stuff. It's great. Like, I just had a company come out here to my house 2 months ago, or a month ago, excuse me. I'm like, oh yeah, you did. And she said, yeah. I was like, do you remember the company's name? And she said, and she spent like a couple grand with them. She goes, no, I don't. I just remember the tech that came in, kind of looked at it. I was like, do you remember what the tech looks like? She goes, yeah, I know what he looks like a little bit. And I'm like, okay, can you describe him? And the reason that I'm telling you that's important is because people buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
If they buy from people they know, like, and trust, especially when it comes to a company, shouldn't they know you? They know you, shouldn't they like you? And then how do you build trust with your brand awareness as well? So like this lady this example I'm using, this lady that just freaking used a company, couldn't even remember the company's name that she used and she spent money with. You think that company has good brand awareness? Hell no, it doesn't.
No. And here's the thing. If that company wants her business again, they're going to have to acquire her again through another lead source.
Exactly.
Right? Because she's never going to be able to type in Bob's air conditioning, right? Because she doesn't know who the place is. And she'd have to go try to find an old receipt or look at her online banking. And, it's like, so in that fight or flight moment, 2-3 years down the road, her capacitor goes out. She's going to be right there in that same cycle of however she searches. It'll probably be on an AI platform and not Google, but they're going to be, who's the best plumber, or who's the best air conditioning company in my town, right? And there's lifetime value. You should be establishing a relationship with that customer before they become a customer, right? That's where your billboard, radio, TV, your brand awareness on digital. But if you're not doing that, you better make damn well that you impress them so much. You leave them so much leave behind material. Your follow-up game is so strong, checking up and making sure that everything's working properly with that system. That way you got all those extra touch points in there. And they will, if you would have asked her that question, she'd have said, oh yeah, it's this company, because they followed up with me 10 times in the last month. Right. But when you don't do any of that, man, all you're doing is buying a customer. And what I want people to know is when you buy that lead, not only is the lead expensive, right? Because you're in a bidding system and you're going against private equity these days. Everything's getting more expensive. You're buying that customer, but that customer, because they don't know you and they don't like you and they don't trust you, you're just a company to them. That average, the conversion rate's going to be lower. The average ticket's going to be lower because that person is transactional. And what they want is, how fast can you get out here with my problem?
Right.
Oh, if you can't get out here today, I'll call the next person. Okay, we can get out there today. Great. But in that person's mind, they didn't want to call you and they don't like you and they don't care about you. So when you pull up, they're not excited. Their tail isn't wagging like the dog excited. They're like, oh, all right, well, come fix my problem. And it's fix my problem and get out as fast as you got here. Right. And then if you start, well, hey, I got some options. I got some add-on stuff. I got some things I recommended for you. And they're going to go, no. Hey, what about our club membership? No. Right. Like, just get out my house.
Right.
That's not the customers you want. And so why does people want to keep spending $500, $600, $700 to acquire a new customer that doesn't care about them? Right. But they won't spend money on branding, on branding and advertising and brand awareness. And it's mind blowing to me, Jake.
It is, man. It is pretty mind blowing. And you think about that. So that example that I gave you, Jonathan, was Homer. She didn't remember that. So here's a couple things. This is a company, and know them. They're local. They're in San Antonio. They're a smaller company. But I think of a couple of things, especially like an organization like that. It's like, okay, they don't have good brand awareness because this client, this person this morning did not remember them. For two, yeah, this customer still bought, but the customer still didn't remember the technician's name. So I asked her, I was like, when you were there, so it goes to marketing, right? Second thing is going into the sales process or service process, sales, service, same thing.
Yeah.
Going into that, I'm like, whenever the technician was there, did he give you options or did he just replace your capacitor for you? She goes, oh no, he just replaced the capacitor. It's like, $400 or $500. Okay. Two, sales problem, right?
Yeah.
Because I gave an example in front of the guys. I start role playing with her. Like I'm the tech at her house. And I start asking her questions and she's had the house for 2 years. And I'm like, okay. if you had the house for 2 years, you already have a capacitor going out. Let me ask you this. Are there any hot spots or cold spots? She said, yes. My upstairs is very hot compared to downstairs. I'm like, okay, do you have 1 or 2 thermostats in your house? She goes, only have 1. Boom. In my mind already, okay, this customer only has 1 system. The system is an upstairs, downstairs, and then also the system's in the attic. And then also what I found is the system's not zoned. And so, of course, she has hot spots and cold spots. She's keeping her thermostat at 68 degrees. Go up there, look at the system, and she has organic growth all over the coil, and it's a 2-year-old system. The system's restricted on return, so it doesn't have enough airflow passing through the unit. Okay, and number 2, how much more life are you going to get out of the? So I start painting her all this picture, dude. Now then I go, and she's locked in. She's like, she's brand new to the business. Today was her first day starting with this company. And I have the techs in this room, and I'm watching them, right? And they're learning because, holy crap, she owns a house and she's brand new. She knows nothing about this business. I keep going with her, and then I start building an options for her from a repair. Start going to all the repair options of how to repair this system to get it right. And it came out to be like a $4,900 repair. And then she goes, man, like, Jake, well, how much does a new one cost? And boom, I got a magic work. It's like, does she need to replace? I was like, man, you don't have to replace this old system. Like, it's a brand new system. It's 2 years old. It's still under warranty. And she goes, but will this repair solve my issues? I'm like, well, it'll get you heat and cooling, but it's not going to solve your comfort issues that you're addressing. You're keeping your thermostat at 68 downstairs. Your upstairs is 74. You said it's still uncomfortable. You have humidity issues. And she goes, yeah, I mean, like, I want it done right. I'm like, okay. Then I do this. I transition her. Don't give her the options yet. From a repair, I do this thing called the true cost of ownership. Some people call it the true cost calculator. It's been taught for years.
Okay.
Do that with her. And then I go over these things that me and Brad Schneider made up back in the day called the 6 questions, and then narrow down a package for her. She chose my Platinum Plus replacement options for $35,000. She's for a 2-year-old unit. I'm not saying that's going to happen every single time, but this lady's going to be, she's going to keep this house for long term. She bought her house 2 months ago. She's going to keep it 2 years ago. And it's her long-term home. She ain't going anywhere.
So what is that, Jake? Is that just these guys going in with blinders on, and I've heard the guys that have these attitudes like, we don't rip anyone off. We're not going to recommend replacement on a system that's under 8 years old. And, and they're talking shit about all these other contractors, but like, you're not doing your job if you don't go in there and ask questions.
No, because most guys would have been like, oh, you could just add a zone board and added some dampers into that system. Dude, it's a single stage unit. You don't zone a freaking single stage. You're going to have high static pressure on that unit. That compressor is going to go out. It's not going to provide the comfort issues that they're going to have in that home. You do not zone that unit. The homeowner, her biggest pain point, the system not working. The next pain point, the biggest pain point, she's lived in it 2 years. She's lived 2 miserable summers here in San Antonio, in this area, right? It gets hot and humid here.
Yeah.
And her kids don't want to be upstairs during the summer because it's too freaking hot. So what was her biggest pain point? Her biggest pain point is, Jake, comfort. I just want to be freaking cool. I want comfort. I want comfort. She didn't even care what it cost at that point. Literally $379 monthly payment on 35 grand. She don't care. She said, oh man, I can afford that. I want that because I want the warranties that are behind that. I don't have to worry about anything. But at the end of the day, I just want to be so comfortable in my house because I keep my thermostat low and I like my house clean and I want to breathe clean air.
Right. So
but I just
comfort. She wanted comfort, peace of mind, and clean air. It's not asking a whole lot, but I think almost every homeowner, if you asked them that, they would all want those 3 things. But if you go in and they go, well, my system's not working. Oh, well, your capacitor's out. I fixed it. Here you go, $450. And I'm going to tell you, most people, if that lead would have come from Google or Yelp or somewhere like that, that acquisition cost them more than the $400 that they just did to fix the capacitor only.
Absolutely, man.
And that's just the lead cost. That's not the overhead cost of what the tech coming out there and the fuel and the tires and the insurance and the truck note and all that.
Yeah. And then my point in all that is like that company missed an opportunity necessarily the customer, doesn't necessarily have to replace it if they don't want to. I'm never going to force anybody, but I am going to give them all their options so they can make an educated decision. They can't make an educated decision what's best for their comfort in the house without the options and the knowledge of knowing what's in their home currently.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that all to them and let the homeowner make the choice that works for them. I don't care if they choose a freaking membership only. I don't care. At the end of the day, I gave the best service possible, gave her options, showed her options. I educated her on exactly what's happening on the system. And she said, I was like, is that good service or is that bad service? She goes, it's phenomenal service. It's great. So what's the company's name? She told me the company's name. I was like, so you're going to remember this. And so I repeated it a lot back to her. But at the end of the day, she was like, Jake, I would have just it's this brand new person, right? She goes, I just bought a new system from you. I was like, I'm not asking you to buy a new system, just giving you your options to make a well-informed decision. It's my job. That's all I'm doing. Yeah. I don't care what you buy. So
I love
a little bit of a rundown. So the company missed an opportunity. And then obviously you have your operational side with like, if you do get this thing, a new system installed, or if you get all this stuff, like so that we can get into that later, but there's a lot in that side that needs to be dialed in.
So, all right. So we're getting to the end of the show. We're going to talk about how people can find you. I want to go through some rapid fire questions. Just shoot from the hip. Give them to me straight. Start with Jake's childhood hero.
Jake's childhood hero. Holy crap. You said shoot from the hip.
It's okay if it was Ken from Ken and Barbie. I mean, just let me know. Whatever.
I think The Gladiator. I think it was Gerard Butler in that bad boy. That was my favorite freaking movie, man. Gladiator.
See, I like the Gladiators, the TV show. You know, the ones that like did all the obstacles.
Oh yeah.
Remember that show?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Childhood hero, probably. I don't really have a hero. I guess Jesus was my hero at that point. If you want to go that route, yeah.
Okay. Well, then, what famous person would you invite to the dinner table, and they can be dead or alive?
I think I have a book. I have to get religious, but probably Jesus, man. I have a.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've had a lot of people say that.
A Meal with Jesus, but even just I'm curious on. I would love to hear the psychology. Well, you can read it, but just having a conversation would be super dope.
Yeah.
But I'll throw another one. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Okay.
I met him in person.
Dude's
he's a great dude, man, and he seems very intelligent. I just like to question him or Tom Brady, preferably Tom Brady though.
Yeah, I like that. Tom seems like a great person to have dinner with too.
Yeah, he's the best.
What's something surprising that most people don't know about you?
Something surprising that most people don't know about me is probably more introverted than I am extroverted.
Okay.
I come off, everybody thinks I'm a massive extrovert because I get along with everybody. I can hold a room when I'm speaking, all that good stuff. But what I mean by that is it just takes energy. So I have to replenish my energy by being alone, silent, reading, whatever that is.
Yeah. I get it. My wife's the same way. You wouldn't think that about her, but she's got to replenish her energy.
Mm-hmm.
And the last question is, what is Jake's belief? Do we have aliens or do we live alone in this world?
Oh man, that's a good one. Dude. Well, there's a couple things on that. Is the earth flat or is it round? So if it's flat, I mean, we're in a dome and we're surrounded by water.
That's right.
If it's round, there's a outer space out there, and there's no freaking way we're alone in this world. That didn't make any sense. That's a
good answer. That's a good answer. I mean, because I don't think we don't know for a fact, right?
Right. I mean, you see all this bull crap online about everything, and you start watching all of it and get sucked into it, and it's like, how does this person even know? Where is he getting his stuff? You don't know. Hell, I control what I can control.
Like
I'm
I
in
have
this world
no
right
faith, and if I had $100 in my name and I had to bet the whole 100 whether the moon landing was real, we've been to the moon, I'm betting no, we haven't.
now.
So
Oh,
there's a lot of people convinced otherwise. There's been a lot of people, all these facts and videos and stuff. So I believe that it's 100% not true, which then makes me believe, do we live in a dome?
how'd the cameraman get up there, bro?
Yeah, right.
Like, dude, it's back in the 1980s or 70s when we went 60s, whenever
Yeah,
it was.
60s, 1960s.
How the hell did the cameraman get up there, man? That made no sense.
I mean, they've got better audio coming from the moon than we've got video footage from a recent political assassination. Like we're 2025, we're 50 years we hadn't advanced. I don't know. I think
I'll touch on that real quick, Jonathan. It's funny, like the world, what you're talking about right now, we're brainwashed by watching all this information. Either it's on TV or it's social media, or it's what we're brainwashed.
Yeah.
To think a perspective, or think a certain way, or whatever. So you're asking me these questions on the moon, all that stuff. We at the end of the day, did anybody know for a fact? I don't know. I've never met that freaking person. And if they said I know for a fact, you're already telling me you're lying because you don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, I just tell people, man, instead of brainwashing your shit with all that information, how about you take some of this stuff that you're learning on this show today, or even other people that are doing well in their industry, study the hell out of them and brainwash yourself to become the most successful person. Success means different ways. It's either financial, family, become the best human possible.
Yep.
Provide good service and control what you can control, and brainwash yourself to be the best version of yourself.
I love it. That's great advice. And I will tell you, one of the most impactful things I took from this entire interview here, and I made a big old note here, was how awesome, like I got chills now just thinking about it, but that you decided to go to your computer that day and type that Google search. What are the best companies to work for, or best jobs to do in Fredericksburg, right? And the fact that I've never thought of that, and the fact that there was an air conditioning company running an ad or something for that search is also bonkers to me, because you wouldn't think that air conditioning company would have came up that did, but like that there was a shift in your whole entire trajectory of life, right? And you took full advantage of it, and it's got you to where you are today. So I think it was an absolutely beautiful story. I appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll check back in with you soon. All right. So how does everyone reach you? Right. Obviously this is going to go out to our database and our clients, because I want some clients to talk to you. But how do people reach you?
Yeah, man, they can go to our website, resilient-roots.net. Okay. But also my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, super easy. It's just, my handle it's very simple. It's Jake Wayne.
It's Jake Wayne.
It's Jake Wayne. What's up, baby? So it's super easy. But yeah, you can go to our website. You could DM me on social. I don't care. My funnel's not set up yet, just so you know. It's getting there. Okay. But anyways, yeah, you could DM me, go to my website, whatever. Follow me on social media platforms. Got you.
Well, you gave them to us. We'll submit them to everyone. So that
text me 210-854-1883. That's my cell phone number.
Repeat it again.
210-854-1883. That is my cell phone number.
Sending a nudie now to you.
Go ahead, bro. Whatever.
I appreciate you, dude. Thank you for coming on, man.
Hey, bro. Appreciate you. I love what you're doing in the industry, man. Keep it up.
I appreciate it, dude.
All right. Later, Jonathan.